I'd like to call to order the Utility Service Board for the City of Lawrence on this 14th day of November 2023. All members are present, so we do have a quorum. First order of business, the minutes of our meeting of October 24, 2023 were sent out to the members for their review. I would entertain a motion that we approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those nay. The minutes are approved. I would like to take a moment at this point and convey the sympathy of the board to Tina on the loss of her husband.
Thank you.
And to Dave for the loss of his dad. So we've had two deaths of family members of our members, and we appreciate you guys, and our sympathy is with you.
Thank you. You too, Dave.
Thank you. Sorry, Tina.
Next order of business will be the payment of claims. The claims were sent out to members for their review by email. Entertain a motion that we approve the payment of the claims.
So moved. Chev's first.
Moved, second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Those are approved. Scott, report of our utility superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight, you can see we have several items on the agenda for approval. We're presenting our 2024 budget and salary resolution, and in a few, Tyler will get up and run through his presentation on the screen there. We do recommend adoption of both those documents. We also have the resolution that the USB needs to do so we can send to the council for the $400,000 of lead service line inventory grant funding from IFA. So we have lined up councilors Wells and Denny who have agreed to sponsor that on the council. And so if we get the resolution tonight, then we'll get that forwarded over to them tomorrow, and then they'll take the next steps to get that it has to be on a council agenda where they will actually adopt the actual ordinance that goes along with that. So we've met with both those counselors. We've also met with the council's attorney, and everybody basically is in support of it. The legal minds have all reviewed it and everything, so everything's in order on that. So we do recommend approval of that resolution, and want to just take this time to thank everybody involved in getting this moved forward. Our utility attorney Caitlin Voller, Kurt Waniger with Wessler, of course counselors Denny and Wells, and attorney Christina Wheeler for all their work in getting this done. We are also have before you supplemental number 1 to the agreement with VS Engineering. VS Engineering is doing the inspection work on the Brookside Park water main project. And if you recall, we've approved a change order to add the resurfacing of 46th Street to that Brookside Park contract. And this amendment to the VS Engineering contract is to have additional funds for them to actually inspect the paving work when it gets done in the spring. So we do recommend approval of that. We've also, we have an Indianapolis Department of Public Works drainage and roadway improvement project that's going to be happening on Shadeland Avenue between call it Pendleton Pike and 52nd Street. And so as part, when we were reviewing the plans for that, there's a water main that has to be lowered that is in the way of a storm facility that they have to work on. So we had to have Wessler are going to come in under the on-call engineering agreement. They're going to design that and prepare us some quote documents to get out to various contractors. So because we have to kind of under the gun to get that work done. On the claims list, you probably have seen a couple of large items on there. So we had on the claims list tonight, we had the $400,000 of, that was our share of the Franklin Road resurfacing that was just recently completed. Then also pay application 3 on our Fort Harrison sanitary sewer capacity improvements project, which is going very well. All the major pipe work is now completed. The only stuff that remains to be done is the work that's going to happen on Lift Station 20, final restoration of the disturbed areas, and then we'll expect to have actually the road resurfaced and opened back up, hopefully by the end of Thanksgiving, maybe 1st of December. And then, of course, we still have a sidewalk to build there too. So that is our basic update. And then that's all I have for right now.
Okay, well, any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify, you said that the Franklin Road will be open by Thanksgiving?
Well, no, Franklin Road is open now.
That's what I was gonna say, it's open. but they
Yeah,
finished
now
it.
Harrison Park Drive is what's impacted by our current sewer project.
Okay.
And that's over there by the BP at 56th and
Okay,
Harrison Park Drive.
Okay.
And so
I don't want
we've had that road closed now for, I don't know, 3 months. So we're antsy to get that opened back up real quick. So, but that project, like I said, is going very well. So,
Well, I'm very happy with the repair for Franklin Road because I have to travel that road every day.
right.
I'm very happy.
Well, when we get roll around into the spring, we'll get 46th Street in the same shape too, from there to Shadeland.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Okay. Well, thank you, Scott. And next order of business, unfinished business, Daniel Rapp, 5718 Wallingwood Drive, regarding the Wallingwood Drive Water Main Replacement Project.
This was tabled, so it needs to be removed and then brought back forward.
Okay. I would entertain a motion that we remove that from the table so that we can move forward.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those nay. We are ready to hear from Mr. Rapp.
Mr. Rapp, you want to come up?
You want to come up, Mr. Rapp, and make your presentation?
Not aware that my name is going to be on the agenda. It was not posted on the webpage. So the answer is no.
Well, I'm sorry for that. It is on our agenda. So. All right, well, if you don't care to speak at this time, we will move forward with new business. Item number 1, I would entertain a motion for approval of supplement number 1 to increase the cost of the Brookside Park Water Replacement Project by $15,000 for the resurfacing of 46th Street from Franklin Road to Shadeland Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Not. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. That is approved.
I'm sorry, who made the motion and who seconded?
I did.
You motion? Okay, thank you.
Item number 2 under new business, I would entertain a motion for approval of resolution number 2, 2023, recommending and requesting that the Common Council take action necessary and appropriate to allow the utility to receive lead service line inventory type 3 grant funding from the Indiana Finance Authority.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Not. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. That is approved. Item number 3, I would entertain a motion for approval of Resolution number 3, 2023, approving the salaries and wages for 2024.
So moved.
Second it.
Been moved and seconded. Those were sent out to you by email for your review. Is there any discussion or question? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. That is approved. Item number 4, I would entertain a motion for approval of the 2024 utility budget proposal.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? You have folks here to answer any questions you might have.
Just gonna go through.
I think
some
we're going to
slides.
have Tyler just basically run you through it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Quick walkthrough, so appreciate the time. I'm going to walk through basically the digital books. This is on the City of Lawrence website, City of Lawrence/financial. That's where you can find this budget proposal. So I'll kind of briefly go through it and touch on a couple of main areas. Oh, you have a hard copy? Oh, okay.
You wanna look through this?
Oh, okay. I was going to watch it.
The proposal itself on the water and sewer side both have funding in there for the 3% raises that were in the salary resolutions as well. Just kind of that's one high level piece here. So working through, Scott and I have, for more details, Scott and I have our letters in here, but we'll just kind of jump right into the nitty gritty. So might be a little difficult to see. I can try zooming in a little bit. I don't want to lose it. There we go. So I like this kind of comparison chart here for the water operating side. So it shows where we were back in 2013. That's the far left. So we had operating cash balance of negative 1.8 million. And so since 2018, we've maintained pretty consistently $1 million in our operating account. And so that's a 60-day reserve that we've maintained and will maintain again for our 2024 budget proposal. So that's something that we want to continue to maintain for all of our bonding purposes as well. So pleased to announce that we've maintained that again. The water side is, as we passed the rates increase on these a few years ago, you'll kind of see that our operating expenses continue to increase, and so that's an area that Scott and I have been looking at again. It's been a few years. And so on our operating budget proposal here, this is page 9. What I would point to is really just the total operating receipts. So we've been pretty consistent. In 2021, we ended with 11.7 million in operating receipts, and really the proposal is 11.6. So it's been flat. We haven't seen rate increases, so we're not going to see revenue increases. On the operating disbursement side, it's a little bit different. So we have 2021, 3.8 million in operating receipts, and it was 4.9 in 2022. And we have worked in our chemical costs have been pretty strong on us, and we've worked our way up to $5.4 million for operating disbursements with this 24 budget proposal. And so what that really has done is the operating receipts, as they continue to, or operating disbursements, I should say, continue to rise. It eats into your operating receipts, which is what you can allocate for your bond debt service and then for capital. And so we'd like to maintain, you see that net operating margin, the minimum is kind of 60%, and we've gone below that. And so we're going to have to keep monitoring that. We're in a good shape financially between the operating and capital improvement fund. But from a long-term perspective, we'll have to continue to monitor our rates and make any adjustments in the future. If you wanted to look at page 11, it's just a breakdown of our debt service fund and the 4 primary outstanding debt obligations we have, and where those are and how much they make up of the total. So nothing crazy there in each debt schedule. On the water capital improvement fund, so the actual amount available for capital improvement projects next year is 3.6 million, which is still pretty consistent. We have enough cash on hand. We spent $3.5 million in 21 and in 22 on capital projects, and right now we've got healthy cash balance in that fund. We are planning on using a lot of that on water main replacements in '24. We've got a lot of water meter replacements that need done and some well improvements as well. So our plan has 4.9 million in there. We've got available funding is 3.6. And so we always kind of plan for everything we need and then fund what we can. If anyone asks you how much work we've done, this proposal will push us over the $50 million investment level for water since 2016. So it's a pretty nice threshold we've hit. You can kind of see that from 17 all the way to the 24 proposal here. So overall, water's in a good spot, but again, we keep seeing the operating disbursements they're not gonna decline anytime soon, but our revenues are flat, and so we will have to kind of keep an eye on that into the future here. And Scott and I have been in discussions about that as well. Overall, water, not bad shape. Let's talk about sewer though. So we can stop and talk about water if you want, or I can keep going right into sewer if you'd like. Any questions on the water side? No?
Anything? Okay, proceed.
So sewer, a little bit more of an interesting picture. You get to see our operating receipts here from 21 all the way up to 24, and so that's a significant difference. That's our rate increase kind of finally kicking in. So in 21, we ended with 8.3 million. In 22, we ended our operating receipts with 8.3 million as well. The first phase kicking in, first one kicked in October, right? Yes. And then phase 2 kicked in April. So we've seen phase 1 and 2. It looks like that's going to bring in about 11.9 million in operating receipts, which is really solid because if you were looking at our disbursements, we were getting to a point where we were running on fumes on the sewer side. And so with the next phase coming in at 24, our receipts will increase again. So from 11.9 up to 13.4 million. And so that net, you can see our net operating line here, as low as 1.9 in 2022 and up to 5.6 million here in 2024. So you need that that net operating revenue there to fund your transfers to your sewer bond and interest fund. That's funding the new 2022 sewer bonds and then funding our in-house capital. And so we haven't been able to do a lot of in-house capital projects because we were basically just funding the debt service and kind of running on fumes, as I had said before. So the nice thing about this is we're bringing in next year $3.4 million into the capital improvement fund, which is up from a low of 1.2 million in 2022. And so we will get to knock out some good projects. Now, that's 3.4 million to the capital improvement fund. That doesn't include the sewer bond money that is earmarked for our EPA order. But in that first line there, the transfers to sewer bond and interest funds, so that is where we're funding that new debt. The breakdown is a little bit further down, but that covers page 20 of just the operating budget. What is really good about this is that when we did the 2023 proposal, our ending cash, or actually it was our 22 proposal, our ending cash wasn't to end at $1 million, so we did maintain that $1 million operating cash balance. We have continued to maintain it, but for a while there, until we got the rate increase, it looked like we were going to end at about $300,000. So that couldn't have come at a better time. It was about as last minute as we could have been on getting that in and keeping ourselves in a good position financially. So glad we have that kind of behind us, and we'll see the rest of those kick in and keep us going the right direction. So if you want to look at the debt service we have, that's on page 22. So we got $2 million that is transferred from the operating fund to our bond and interest fund. Most of that primarily goes to the new 2022 bonds, focus on the EPA order. And that's the gist of the comments on there. We've got our debt schedules. In our sewer capital improvement fund proposal. And so this will put us back on target to at least implement at least 1.3 million into in-house sewer capital projects in 24. And then I think 25 will hit our $2 million target, which is what we've been wanting annually in-house. So these rate increases have been really good for us. If you look at the chart at the bottom of page 29, you can see the significant increases in capital invested into the sewer. So that includes a portion of the 2022 bonds being spent, really most of that in '24 and then beyond. So got quite a bit of investment going on in our sewer utility. We will be busy. Overall, that's the gist of the sewer. We're in a much better position than we were the last time we had this conversation and before that as well. So it's a little bit easier to present this than it was in the past, that's for sure. So overall, we're on the up and up on the sewer side. So happy with that. A couple of key issues is our treatment costs. That's not going down. So we'll just keep monitoring that. And Scott meets with citizens every once in a while and probably ask them to slow down.
As was mentioned when, not only when we got the sewer rate passed, but I've mentioned it here in several meetings previously, that 2025, there will have to be another sewer rate increase. Because effective January 1, 2025 is when we start moving into phase 2 of the sewer rate increase from the citizens sewage treatment contract. We're going to need to get a rate study done and figure out how much we're going to have to adjust that by to be able to have the revenue handle those increased costs. Because under that contract, and if we have a 4-year period, we'll make 4 proportional increases to get to the full level of the sewer rate number 6, which is what we fall under in the citizens rate schedule.
I do have a comment. I have received some calls and just conversations around the rate increase. And I know I couldn't remember all the dates when I was having the conversations. I think prior to the time that we're in now, it was 2009. It was a really long period of time where there had not been a rate increase. So I think maybe to soften some of the increases that we know are ahead of us, maybe we could put some of that information in front to kind of control that a little bit better, because we know they're coming, and it's not comfortable.
Right, and again, I know I put this in previous warrants.
I know.
So we can put it in there again in December. But yeah, people do need to be aware of that. It is coming. And that's why it's imperative that we keep pushing forward with sewer capital projects to find and eliminate sources of clear water into our sewer system. Because even though our rates are going up, if we continue to bring the volume of clear water, take that out of the sewer, that's less gallons we're paying to treat. So, that will mitigate that. And again, we're sending way more sewage to Indianapolis for treatment than our average monthly water volume metered sales would indicate. And we're sending 3.8 or selling 3.8 billion gallons a year to our customer. 3.8 million gallons per day, roughly, of metered water sales. But on average, our sewage average flow on a million gallon per day to treatment is like 5.6. So that's, shouldn't be sending that much more water to citizens for treatment. You should actually be sending, if your sewer system was in good shape, probably just maybe a shade more, figure, no sewer system is going to be completely rid of I&I. You're always going to have that. But the idea is to keep that down and under control. It's, we should ideally be somewhere between 4 and 4.1 million gallons per day, based on the size of our system. But we're at 5.6. What we're at.
Well, we also need to continue to address that to meet the federal mandates too.
Yeah.
We have no choice.
Right. The EPA order is
We could
still in place.
stop doing it, but then we pay fines. Better off to do the capital work to get it right. Right.
Plus, the longer we wait, the more expensive it gets to do it
Right.
in the long run, which we're feeling that now, really. So there's no shortage of work to be done.
No.
yeah, keeps us busy.
But, you know, we're headed in the right direction. It just needs to be maintained.
Our borrowing costs, are they going to be, are they set for the time being, or are they going to be adjusted for these higher interest rates?
Now, all the outstanding bond issuances we have a fixed rate, so we won't see any changes. Yeah, we don't anticipate needing, our current rate structure doesn't allow us to issue any new bonds, water or sewer, right now. So you have to wait for something to fall off, which has got some time.
Yeah, I did want to mention too, with regard, getting back to the EPA thing, so, we had a conversation with, our case officer about a little more than a week ago, and, we were discussing, sewer model, scenarios. Typically, and what we're using to work on our corrective action plan, we were using a 5-year, 24-hour storm. Well, during that conversation, our case officer said, well, we'd really like for you to look at a 10-year and 25-year, 24-hour storms too, which that language was not in the original order. And so we had a conversation about that. You know, that's a lot of extra work, you know, it's going to take more time. So, you know, we started talking about an extension. And so while he could not guarantee that we would get an extension, he did encourage us to put in a request, which we did. In the meantime, our case officer left his position at EPA to take a different position at EPA in a different office. So we got a new guy, but we heard back from him tonight, and we should have maybe an answer by tomorrow as to whether or not we got that extension, which I think in all honesty, they would almost have to give us, because they never mentioned that before. Even when we submitted our original hydraulic model and they reviewed it and approved it, they never said anything about those additional storm events. So I feel pretty confident we'll get that extension. So that's kind of the latest development.
Hey, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Well, if you do get that response tomorrow, would you mind sending us an email to let us know?
Yes. Yep.
No.
Well, there is a motion on the table. So,
And a second.
in a second. So we will vote on a motion for approval of the 2024 utility budget proposal. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That is approved. We do not have any account adjustments this evening. We do not have any remonstration of ratepayer dispute regarding disconnect notice. And no one is here for citizens' comments, so I would entertain a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.
Thank
Thank you all for coming.